Yes, yes. Not to leave anything here that would be harmful, okay, that we don't want toxic waste or anything like that. And what about litter?
Not that either.
Okay, we don't want litter to be left. Pack it in, pack it out, okay? So one of the questions you could ask the kids is, how well do people treat their conservation land here? Okay, as we look around. You will see, okay, the results of some folks that didn't really maybe read the sign because it wasn't there. I don't know, maybe that's their excuse. Okay, now let's see. We've looked at the rock wall. We've looked at the soil. Let's take another look at that map. Line it up with your compass so that you know where we are, because we are going to start on our trip. And we took time beforehand to line up the map and the compass, but
could you explain just briefly what you did, because I wasn't there?
okay. What you need to do is to team up with somebody, maybe 2 or 3 people with a compass. In your group, you'll have 6 kids in one compass. So, make a little compass circle and lay out a map. It's helpful if you have a clipboard so that you can lay your map flat. And move the compass around.
And which map are we using? The little tiny one?
No, we're using the map that's on the back of the packet, which is the big Whipple Hill map. It's relatively big. Okay. And which end of the compass points north now? Which color?
Red.
Red. Okay, turn the bottom part of your compass, the flat part of your compass, the rectangular part, I guess, turn it around so that the red north on that stationary part of the compass and the red needle match up.
It's easier. Put north up at the top here.
And then turn your map
now
around
turn
so that
this
north
whole
matches
thing.
north.
There you go. Oops. It's moving. Oh, it's got a bubble in it. It's part of why. There. That's about right.
Okay, good to go.
You can get it flat.
We just said that you can check it out here because Winchester Drive is over there, and if you're holding your map the right way, all you need to do is to imagine yourself at number 1.
There's
and
Winchester
looking
Drive.
at Winchester Drive, which way
And
would you
there's
look?
Winchester
And
Drive.
Sure enough, there it is. And that's nice because here we are and Winchester Drive's there, but when you get out in the middle of the woods, you will not have Winchester Drive as a reference, okay? But if you know how to use a compass, then you'll be able to know which direction you're going.
And there's the first trail
We're also
fork
going to
right
look
there.
for some landmarks too. So everybody has their compass lined up? Okay. Now look on your map for number 3. Number 3 has a little symbol next to it. What's the shape of the symbol? Triangle. Triangle on a topographic map means the top of a mountain. Okay? So which direction should we go in to get to Whipple Hill? The top of Whipple Hill.
South.
Okay, we should go pretty much south, right? If this is north, we should go south, a little bit southwest, maybe. Okay. Now, I should also mention that these maps, it shows the N on the map shows you true north. The compass shows you magnetic north, which is a little bit off from true north. So you'll find all along that this is not going to be exactly north, south, etc. But that's okay. At this level for the kids, a general direction is fine. So we're going to head sort of south. All right, now, which trail should we use? There's a trail this way, and there's a trail this way. Which trail goes to the top of the hill? Okay, I wonder. Okay, there are several clues, one of which is your compass, and the other of which, of course, is that this goes up. So we know for sure which trail we want to go on. The other thing that we need to do at the bottom of the hill is to take a look at these trees that are growing in the soil. So just sort of move your head from the bottom of the tree to the top of any tree right around here. Okay? And then put your hand on the back of your neck and just feel. How does your neck feel when you're looking at the tops of the trees here? Okay? That's something that the kids need to note on their
What is it?
thing. Okay?
But you have to look up.
You have to look really high, okay? If you wanted to draw a picture of you next to the tree, you draw a little tiny you in a big tall tree, right? Okay, just keep that little snapshot in mind. Okay, we are going to walk up the hill. You are going to stay behind the leader. You played follow the leader before. The kids always better relate to this, okay? And on the way up, we are going to look for different kinds of rock, like you saw on the rock wall. We're going to look for something that's happening to the trail here. It's actually disappearing. So keep that in mind while we walk and see if you can figure out what's happening to this trail. And if you see anything else interesting, like I've been seeing some really neat birds, point those out too. Okay, let's head up.
But that's when you're around the compass, right? You know, the time, depending on the time of day, right? You know, east and west, and so I line it up, that's pointing east, right?
Butterflies. Tree roots here now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, remember we were talking about the disappearing trail? Why is it disappearing? Being washed away, that's right. There's a fancy word for being washed away when stuff like this, sand and soil, is erosion, that's right. So erosion is happening to this trail.
Write that word down.
Yeah, write that word
Thanks
down.
for coming today.
What?
Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you. This is fun. I have a new place to come and walk. It's really nice here.
But do bring a compass. I'm not kidding. I really got lost.
Well,
here
I'm
once.
learning how to use it. I will continue
It's
to
very confusing. There are 3 trails that go off the top of this hill, and if you get on the
Really?
wrong one,
You get lost.
you can
Well,
really
there's-
get
what did-
turned
what
around.
Did you say, Fran? There's 120 acres.
Yeah.
119.
Yeah.
A lot of acreage to get lost on.
Anything that you're noticing about the rocks on the way up? Do you see any that have anything distinctive about them? Yeah, they're sort of jutting out. Okay. Oh, that's on this one.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Well,
that other
now let's
green
leave the sunlight shining on this, but come on up so that everybody can see. What's this stuff?
It's that green stuff.
It's that
No,
green
not a
stuff that we saw.
lichen.
Now, remember the lichens that we saw? They were kind of crusty and you could sort of pull them off. Well, I can't pull that off. That's really part of the rock. And is it a crystal that goes way deep in, or is it just on the surface? Yeah, it
Almost
looks like
like
it's just on the surface.
Lake bed?
Well, there are some sediments that have sort of a greenish color, but actually this is just sort of a surface effect. Let's keep looking for that and see if we have any more clues as to how that stuff is formed. Oh, look at that one. That was black and white crystals, definitely different than the other. Now, somebody has moved my rock, my prize rock. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that neat?
Let's see if I can get this one. Shiny right there.
It's very shiny, that's right. And the stuff that we saw before was kind of old, but I think this is fresh. And if you sort of feel it, you can you see the polish on it? And if you move your hand in a certain direction, like
Very smooth.
compare that versus this, which way is it easiest to move your hand? Yeah, that way. Okay.
And it's fresh, you said?
Okay, well, it's not weathered.
Oh.
Remember we were talking about the outside of the rock versus the inside of the rock? Because of weathering, the air and water and stuff acting on the rock on the outside or exposed starts to decompose. We've already seen that. And so that surface probably hasn't been exposed as long as some of this other stuff that looks kind of like a dirty green. This is sort of a fresh surface. Okay, now, when geologists see this stuff, they say, oh, I know what's happening here. This kind of mineral, the name is not important, but it's called epidote. But at any rate, what it tells you is that there must have been a crack here, and this mineral came in some water. And when the rock moved along the crack, it actually polished this mineral. So this is sort of a crack-filling mineral, and if it's polished like this, in German it's called Slickenside. I mean, this is nothing that the kids ever need to know, except that it's kind of fun to say. And so that gives you an idea that there's been movement along that crack. Now, if that happened fast, what would they call it? Movement along a big crack. An earthquake, yeah. So it could mean, it doesn't necessarily have to mean, but it could mean that there was an earthquake. Now, large, small, who cares, but an earthquake, okay, a movement along that crack. And sometimes during an earthquake, the rock cracks even more, because of the shaking and the forces. So that would help the rock to break down into smaller pieces, Okay? So if you see that green stuff, it tells you that the earth has been moving, the rocks have been moving in this area. Okay? So keep your eyes peeled because you're going to see more of this green stuff. And I'm going to take this sample and I'm going to put it right here on my little landmark. See this birch that's sort of like, I don't know, the letter what?
A.
A. Okay, the letter A for this birch, okay, is going to show you where this rock is. So I'll put it right there. And if you wouldn't mind just putting it back on the side, don't stick it out in the trail there because it will just get moved around. But that's a really nice sample to show kids. And they love to look for the green stuff. So
Fran,
keep your eyes peeled.
can we look up at the trees now? Because if we do, we feel the sun
Oh
on your
yeah,
face.
look it up at the trees now. Any difference?
They're shorter.
They're not as tall. That's right. So let's
Right
just
across
keep
from
checking
this
it out.
birch too is the A tree. So there's a birch hanging into the trail.
What's happening there? Coming out of the ground, and what's happening to it?
Some parts are flaking off.
Ah, some parts are flaking off. But what clues do you have that that's happening? Yeah, look at that. It looks like an onion, doesn't it? See, it's, move up so you can see it. It's peeling like an onion, and there actually are some places on it that look like they have stripes. If you feel it with your hand,
Yeah.
you can figure out why those stripes are there. Why do you think there's a stripe here and a stripe there and not?
It's a different kind of mineral.
Yeah, it must be a different kind of mineral. And would that be hotter or softer if it's left?
Harder.
Harder, that's right. Now this in miniature is what's happened to actual mountains. For example, how many have ever been to Mount Monadnock in New Hampshire? Okay. Mount Monadnock is a harder kind of rock. And so when erosion took place, it got left behind, whereas the mountains that were made out of other kind of rock got moved away. So that's why it's left sticking up. And anytime you have a mountain that is left behind because it's a harder material, they call it a monadnock, in honor of Mount Monadnock. So this is sort of a mini monadnock here. Now keep that in mind because we're going to see a much larger version of that in not too long. If it was put there, why would somebody put a log in the middle of the trail like that?
Get the water off the trail.
Yeah, to keep the water from running straight down the trail. Why? Why would they want to do that? Yeah, because the erosion will be so bad after a while that the trail will be unwalkable. Yeah. Now, notice anything about the number of rocks that we're seeing here? Yeah, it's increasing, isn't it? There's some nice green stuff right there. Behind tree right there. Oh yeah, we do have some organic material here that you want to step over.
Take off the magnifying.
It is.